So most likely you clicked on this video to check out a new deck that I obviously included in the title. So here's a deck, very simple stuff, and obviously no legendary cards. And this is really what I was focusing when I developed this deck. I'm a free-to-play player on most of my content. I did spend a little bit of gems, honestly, but obviously I do not have any legendary cards. Now that includes my level 7 account and my level 9 account. I do have one on my level 9 account, but I had to buy that, and it was the log. So technically, if I did not spend any money, I would not have a single legendary card, which is ridiculous. But there is a solution to that, and by using this deck, I have used it many times for months now, and here's an in-depth guide on how to use it. I really want to focus though on the main pushes of this deck, its strengths and its weaknesses. So the main things that this deck has a push for is there's multiple combinations. There's the Prince and Fire Spirits, there's the Hog and Zap, and the rest are pretty much defense troops. Obviously you can mix it up a little bit, do Prince Musketeer, Hog Musketeer, and it's always good to include a Zap in the pushes, but for the most part those are the things that you want to push with, and obviously the rest, which is the Inferno Tower and the Skeleton Army, very nice for defense. Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, let's take a look at the specifics of the battle. So for now, I do one of the pushes options I just said, combination of Hog Musketeer, Hog Fire Spirits. So as you can see, took out this tower pretty effectively, and it hasn't even been a minute of the battle and already got one tower taken down, and as a bonus, that Musketeer almost took down that Goblin Hunt, which does end up going down. I have this Inferno Tower for defense. Once you place down that Skeleton Army, Skeleton Armies are always good to counter with the Zap, and I would just have these arrows for that minion horde. So pretty much everything that he's throwing at me, I have an effective counter towards that. So now our elixir is going up, and both of us are staying rather passive. I do have this Inferno Tower up, and most likely he is waiting for that Inferno Tower to run out. But always start your Prince at the bottom. This is for multiple reasons. So, well, actually there's one main reason. It's that you can charge up your elixir while he's running across the first half of the field. You can charge it up, and obviously you can generate some Fire Spirits to help him out behind. So now, last second, I always place down that Skeleton Army. You want to wait a little bit until the Prince gets very close to the tower to place down the Skeleton Army. Now you're thinking it might not make a difference of when you place down your Skeleton Army, but truly it does, just because of the fact that the opponent is not expecting to place down the Skeleton Army if you have already ignored it for that time. And that arrows, that was on accident, honestly. I meant to arrow the Skeleton Army, but it ended up taking down the minion horde also, which worked out very nicely. And he has this giant skeleton to counter my Prince. Very nice by him. And then he has another Prince, but obviously that giant skeleton is going to get taken down, and I have a Skeleton Army to counter that Prince once again. You see, I waited a little bit for that Prince to move forward and then placed down that Skeleton Army, and then he placed down that Zap after my skeletons were finished. So at this point there's only about 10 seconds left, and I'm just going to wait for the clock to run out, and not really going to try to get for the 2 crown or anything, just going for the 1 crown, and that is safe to say that we have won this battle. Let's get on to the next one. Our next battle here is in Arena 6 versus this Russian guy. I'm going to tell him good luck, and as you can see, I started off with the Prince, so I am going to place him down at the bottom left. Like I said, usually that's how you should start off the battle. Make your opponent test his cards, see what he's going to counter with, so you'll know in the future how you should push with your troops. So obviously he took that part out. The baby dragon is going to get a couple of hits on the tower, but honestly I'm not too concerned about baby dragons, as they do not do that much damage. So I've got the Hog, and I've got the Zap ready, and zap that down. So Hog does get 3 shots on the tower, and my motto is, whenever I do any battle pretty much, every shot counts. And and that applies to both sides. It applies to, I need to get as many shots as I can on the enemy tower, and I need to make sure that he does not get any shots on my tower, no matter what it costs. So as you can see, I waited there a little bit for the prince to get close to the tower, then that skeleton army, and then he placed down the arrows, which were late though because I had already taken out his prince. So these fire spirits effectively taking out the skeleton army. So the fire spirits behind the prince are used for two things. Usually someone is going to counter with a skeleton army, or they will counter with something like that, like goblins or skeletons or spear goblins or barbarians, even whatever it may be. And another counter I see most oftentimes is the minion horde, and obviously minions just get like completely wrecked by fire spirits, or let me say they'll get roasted by fire spirits literally. So very effective to use prince fire spirits, and they only cost 2 elixir, and as you can see there, he missed his fireball. He only got the musketeer, didn't even get the tower. So now I know that he has the fireball and all's good. He's got the expo, and I'm going to place down the skeleton army. Now my thoughts on that were that the expo would not target the prince right away, but rather they would target the skeleton army first. Now I hid in that hog there, so I'm going to place down the zap, and he does not get a shot, but that zap at least did do a little bit of damage. Now before that prince is going to get to the musketeer, I placed down the skeleton army a little bit faster, so the musketeer will stay alive. Now I'm doing another push of Hog Rider, Musketeer, and now I got fire spirits even and the zap. So that tower very easily been taken down, and now I've just got to wait for the time to run out, and pretty much most people just give up at this point because lots of people rage quit. I'm pretty sure this guy left the battle during the raid, or whatever you want to call it, battle. So again, this deck working out very nicely. It's really on how you play with the deck. It is not your traditional deck, and it's how you use it that matters. Let's shoot this guy up with a good luck. Not like he really needs it because it's going to be useless. His luck is going to go to the trash because I'm going to whoop him. So now he's coming in at the very beginning, trying to do a surprise attack, I guess. But obviously the Inferno Tower takes out that Hog Rider, and I have a lot of splash damaging units or cards inside of this game. I mean, inside of this deck, and that includes Fire Spirit, Zap, Skeleton Army even, and arrows. And if you guys didn't see, that Prince actually did get one shot. Like I said before, every shot matters. So working out very nicely there. And now he has another Hog Rider, and obviously I have an Inferno Tower, so bye bye Hog Rider. And he's doing very strange pushes. You cannot do one card at a time. It really does not work. You need to have a combination of cards when you place your cards down. I thought that was common knowledge. You can't just place down a Hog Rider. Like, he's literally placing down one card at a time, which is extremely stupid. Do not do that anytime. So he has a zap there, took out the Skeleton Army. I decide not really worth it to take out his Skeleton Army. Just let my Prince die. But obviously he had the Rage Spell there, so my Fire Spirits placed them down. They took out the Skeleton Army. Everything's good. So I told him well played. Not really sure why I told him well played, but he actually does have this Hog Rider here. And I do not have my Inferno Tower or my Prince, which is what I would usually counter the Hog Rider with. But I placed on the Musketeer, and even though every shot counts, he did get some damage on my tower. But still, better to place down that Musketeer than ignore the Hog Rider, because if you ignore Hog Rider, then you're pretty much screwed. He's going to take out half of your tower or something. So obviously we're in the lead right now, and 2 times elixir has just come. Not much has happened that much. We're just doing damage on each separate tower. Fire Spirits on that Goblin Barrel. So now he's got the Minion Horde and Rage Spell, which was not bad, but I placed down the Zap here, and this Prince takes out that Hog before I can take a shot. So that worked out very nicely. Now I've got the Prince, Hog, Musketeer, Fire Spirits even, and pretty much this deck shines at 2 times elixir. You can make such a strong and powerful push. The thing about this deck is that these troops are good for both offense and defense, and that's what makes this deck so versatile, is that you can use the cards for both. Obviously things like the Hog Rider is not going to be good for defense, but pretty much every other card except for the Inferno Tower, which is only good for defense. But most cards in this deck, very good for both. Now we have approached sudden death. He has his Hog Rider, and obviously another counter to the Inferno Tower. So one thing I noticed that this guy is lacking is you need to think about what cards the opponent has, so you can determine what cards you need to place down yourself. Because if you remember, like, I countered this Hog Rider with the Inferno Tower many times, and he did not do anything about it. He kept on doing the exact same thing, which was extremely stupid. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck. Try it out for yourself. Tell me how it works. I'm Rebel, guys, and thank you all for watching.